Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, it's all about reviewing the EPL season. Arsenal crowned champions. And of course, we had three teams which were also relegated. Now, joining me this evening to discuss some footballing matters, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christoph, another EPL season have come and gone. Wow, it feels like it was just yesterday the season was kicking off, but here we are, May, pretty much one big game left, and that game is the Champions League final involving Arsenal and PSG. But Christoph, give us your take. What has been your impression of this year's EPL, Arsenal being crowned champions? Talk us through that. What says you as a big Arsenal fan out in the wilderness for 22 years, now back among the trophies?
Talking about what specifically?
Well,
I
the,
mean,
the
obviously,
EPL season as a whole, how did you find the season, the ups, the downs? What's your take,
I
generally
mean,
speaking?
obviously, as an Arsenal fan, it's good to have gotten the trophy again after 22 years after the Invincibles. Good to be the winners again. Well-deserved winners. I might say they were slips here and there, but uh, I doubt anybody could question whether or not Arsenal were the best team in the league for the majority of the season, given that once they took first, they pretty much only lasted for like one weekend and then it was back to first again for pretty much all the season, the entire season. Once
Yeah,
Liverpool
definitely.
slipped a couple of weeks in, that was it.
Yeah, Arsenal has definitely maintained their consistency throughout the season. I mean, all of this goes to show, I mean, they are indeed champions, but for sure, deservedly so. You could say, as I said, they have been the most consistent team throughout, and always the team which has always been in the conversation from day one, really. Of course, the only closest team to them was Man City, who gave a fight, but it seemed as if the fight was short-lived. I think every time Man City had an opportunity to really go ahead, they were pegged back, whether it be a draw. The game which took it from me from Man City was that drawn game versus Everton. I thought if Man City had gotten a win, then it would have been a closer fight, going down to the wire. But
Yeah,
once that game drew, to me, that was the defining moment which led to Arsenal lifting the title.
definitely that draw game was really the turning point. Especially after Arsenal had lost the Carling Cup final, which to me I maintain it looked like Pep like Mikel Arteta gifting Pep Guardiola some silverware on that one for some reason. It was a poor managerial performance and a poor performance from the team on that day. A couple of weeks later, Arsenal played Man City again, having just played a Champions League match. It was a really relatively close match. I thought there were, and throughout the season, and not just for Arsenal, there were very strange VAR decisions here and there. Um, I actually took a look at they had like a table where they said, what the table would look like without VAR. Arsenal
Right.
VAR aided Arsenal with 5 points for correct decisions, I guess, made. Manchester City allegedly only 2 points, but that doesn't
Oh,
pass the
but if you're using the table, Christoph, you have to use it for all teams. You can't
no,
just
no,
single
I
out
mean
one
no,
team,
no, no. They're saying, Manchester City only gains an additional 2 points.
right?
And I find that a little bit weird because I mean not weird, but to me,
Ah, but I
Manchester
mean,
to
to me, I mean, Arsenal to me had some very game-defining decisions. Again, not to take anything away from Arsenal, not to take anything away,
Mhm.
but there were some decisions. One, I can record the red card, no decision. I think it was a tackle on Doku, if memory serves me correctly.
In
A tack,
the second
sorry,
leg or the
yeah,
first leg.
actually Havertz, when Havertz made that tackle from behind.
You mean against Burnley? Or
Yes,
okay,
yes,
oh
against
yeah, yeah.
Burnley, correct.
Yeah, but we said
Yes.
that should have been a red. I confirmed that was a red. That was a
Yeah, but
strange decision.
Yeah, I don't really blame VAR. It comes and it goes, Christoph. I mean, you get some decisions for you, you get some
Oh
decisions
no, no,
against
no.
you.
Yeah, you get some. No, what I'm
Yeah,
saying is that the table that they showed without VAR, Manchester City gains an additional 2 points or
oh, so
whatever.
who would have won the league though?
It would have Man City would have won on goal difference.
I see,
Is
I
what is
see, I
what they're
see.
saying. But again, week out, and as I've said all of this season, I said last season, I do not understand how Manchester City finishes games with 11 players. They get away with murder on a weekly basis when it comes to fouls, tackles from behind, and challenging players without challenging for the ball. Week in, week out, they get away with murder, in my opinion. But again, Arsenal won the league, so I guess it's fine in this instance. But to what you said, Arsenal get not getting that red card, Havertz not getting that red card. Last season, Arsenal got 6 red cards, right? None of them,
Again, as I said, I'm
none
not
of
taking
them,
anything away from Arsenal and
in my
I'm not
opinion,
adding anything to Arsenal. It
right,
is what it is. I accept these things that regardless of that's what makes the game great. You're always gonna have conversations surrounding decisions. The game is still subjective to a level. And
right.
once you have subjectivity, then you're going to have human error, whether for you or against you. But probably throughout the course of the season, your gameplay or your consistent level of play is probably going to outdo the bad decisions against you, you know? So it is what it is. We accept these things, we move on. For sure, congratulations must go to Arsenal, as mentioned. They've been the most consistent team and they still have one big match ahead of them. The big Champions League final versus PSG. And yeah, that's definitely one to look forward to. But the champions are decided, Christoph. What about the relegation side of things? I mean, Arsenal is celebrating, but three teams are now cursing their luck. And the biggest of which is West Ham. It was down to the wire between West Ham and Spurs. Spurs got the victory and barely got over the line. What's your take on the relegation battle? What can we expect from Spurs going forward? And indeed, will we see West Ham bouncing back, or they'll probably be stuck in the doldrums for years to come?
I mean, as for Spurs now with Spurs, what can we expect of Spurs? Well, I mean, Richarlison said that Spurs will be challenged for the title next season, so let's wait and see on that. He said,
We have to take that sort of talking with a grain of salt, man.
right,
I
right,
mean, you
because
don't move from 17 to winning titles or
it, it,
challenging.
it's 2 seasons in that relegation zone, hovering around that relegation zone. But I also said that I thought Spurs would stay up, and I thought that they would probably beat Everton, given that Everton was coming into this with the worst form in the league
Right,
at the
right.
moment. So I said they got it. It was a very good defensive display, in my opinion, from them. I think Everton took too long to come to life because they could potentially have gotten the points from it, but West Ham will curse their luck, I suppose, but they really have nobody to blame but themselves. Honestly, they could have done a lot better in throughout the season. The poor form is coming for probably the last 2, 3 seasons, to be honest. So there might need to be some changes, but that's kind of difficult now that you've gone down into the championship. You have to now focus on getting back up, and then when you get back up, you need to equipped your squad to handle the rigors of the Premier League.
You see, the problem with relegation is that the vultures are now circling Christoph. The best players from that team will be picked up by other Premier League teams. I
And
mean,
who do you think are the best players at West
so
Ham?
yes, I have a number. To me, Liverpool need to go out and get Diouf Christoph, the left back, 21-year-old Senegalese. Diouf.
What about
Excellent, excellent crosses, Christoph. He reminds me of a Trent-like player who is swinging them in from the right back position and putting it on a plate for the strikers to head in. So Juve is a player I think Liverpool probably needs to go and get. Um, Fernandez, the attacking midfield, good player, good quality player right there. Bowen, of course.
I was
To
going
be
to
honest,
ask
Christoph,
Bowen.
Bowen back has to be hurting him. Bowen back has to be hurting him for bringing this West Ham team on his back for 2, 3, 4 seasons. If not for Bowen, where would this West Ham team be, to be honest with you? So Bowen is a player who I'm sure the big suitors will be looking to sign Bowen as well. So those are a couple. So the better players, they're gonna move on and get a contract with a bigger team. So that is the problem faced in West Ham. Can they now go and recruit players who are willing to play in the championship and get them back into the Premier League? So we've seen a number of teams, Christoph, who have gone down and have not returned for years. We see teams going down and even getting relegated to a lower division again, the likes of a Leicester, for example. That is the case. The likes of a Bolton Wanderers. I was
I,
just reading Bolton Wanderers just recently got promoted back to the championship.
I'm not sure we'll be seeing Leicester for a little while, to be honest.
We won't be seeing them. And a number of other teams, when you think of the likes of a Wigan, Christoph, Wigan, you don't remember Wigan when Wigan played in the EPL.
Wigan Athletic, of course, I
We got
remember Wigan.
where is we gone now? That's what I'm saying. A number of teams go down and don't return. In fact, established names, teams who have been in the league for a while. So I'm not talking about a one season wonder team per se or a yo-yo team. I'm talking about a team who has come, got promoted, and stuck around for 6, 7, 8 years, only to be relegated, and now they are nowhere to be found. So Southampton is another team which we saw around for a while,
Well,
got
Southampton got
relegated.
themselves into hot water recently, so
Recently, again, Spygate got kicked out of the champion.
uh, it's not the first time that a team
Hull
has
City, who
reported
have
them for
been
them.
promoted as well, Christoph. Hull City is back. Hull City was a team synonymous with the Premier League also. Was in
Stoke,
there for a number of years. Stokes, that is it. Stoke City, number of years creating havoc, roughing up Arsenal and Wenger and those cold, windy nights over there in Stoke. And now relegated, never to return. So hopefully that fate doesn't reach West Ham, but that is a distinct possibility. If they don't get their act
mm,
together, they may be in the championship for a while. And of course, Burnley was the other team that went down with them, and also Wolves. So Wolves
but
is another team, came up,
Bur
been
Burnley
in
went down about 2 seasons ago and has come back up quickly. The company I think was the manager brought
right.
them up. They went back down. They dismissed him and they're back up again, only to go back down again.
Right, correct. So they seem to have that luck. So this won't be the first rodeo for Burnley. So I'm not too worried about Burnley, Christoph. Burnley knows how to play in the championship. They know how to be promoted. They have the formula there. I'm talking about a team which has been in the Premier League for a while, have no idea what the championship is like, and have to be very careful that they don't get caught up in that doldrum. Otherwise, they may be stuck in the championship for a while. If they don't bounce back immediately, make some good signings, make some good sales where they can recoup some funds to reinvest, you might be in trouble. But for sure, Christoph, Juve is the player I would take to Liverpool from that West Ham team. Juve, Bowen, is another one. The only thing against Bowen is his age. So he's maybe a year or two from hitting 30. So that's the only thing I would say re Bowen. But Jove, young, bright, energetic, definitely one of the standouts. Oh,
Some some
Somerville as well, Christoph.
some
Somerville.
sometime you don't need a player for a long time. You just need them for a job.
True, true. What would you take a chance on Bowen over there at Arsenal?
Uh, I don't think Bowen is at the Arsenal level. If you think
What you
he's at
mean
the
not at the
Liverpool,
Arsenal
I
level?
don't think it. I don't take from him that he had what, like 11 assists or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he was among the top
third
assist
most assists
men,
in the league. But um,
and he's been doing it for years. It's not as if this is a one season wonder.
right.
He has been a
No,
consistent performer
no.
for years.
I'm not saying that he's a bad player or anything like that. Sometimes a player is performing well at a smaller club and then they make the move to the bigger club only to not be able to replicate any of what they were doing there. Um, Jack Grealish, for example, has not been able to replicate any of what he was doing before, despite um, was it like 100 something million that they paid for him at the time?
Right.
And
Well, I'm not sure if Grealish is the best example to use, Krista, because Grealish was tossed into a completely new system under Pep. Pep pretty much changed his entire game. I mean, if you looked at this season when Grealish was playing for Everton, he looked the Grealish that played for Aston Villa. He looked that 100 million pound man. So I
I'm
just think it's a
I'm
case
pretty
of
sure.
him. being managed
I,
by Pep.
I think he had flashes of looking like that, but for much of the season, I think Everton fans would probably consider him a flop as well.
No, sir, no,
While
no, no,
he,
no. Definitely a success story. I think if Everton can sign him over this summer, they will. To me, he's one of the main reasons Everton this season was never associated with relegation. Yeah,
okay,
man, the Everton players would snap, the Everton coaches would snap him up on a permanent deal,
David
especially with
Moyes.
Pep now out of the equation. Yeah, there'll be
Yeah,
some
but
sales over there at City.
Mariska might find a use for him.
Possibly, I mean, yeah, he's still a City player, but for sure, if they're looking to sell, I'm sure Everton will definitely be at the top of the queue to get his signature, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Uh, some definite players movement will be taking place in the EPL over the course of the summer. So Bowen, just some statistics with Bowen, Christoph. Bowen had 9 goals and 11 assists over the course of the season. 9 goals and 11 assists. That's
Yeah,
pretty much
he
19
I
goal
I
contributions
I
in the
think
league.
in my opinion, Jared Bowen definitely makes my team of the season.
Your team of the season.
Yeah, if you had
Bowen.
yeah, Bowen makes team of the season
Wow.
for
Wow.
me.
That you're saying you will have Bowen playing
I would
at
have the Bowen on the right in my team of the season.
not Semenyo.
So you put Semenyo on the left. Can play both, right? You can
Well,
play both sides.
no, well, I wouldn't say no, no,
Okay,
no,
well,
no. Can't play both sides, no.
okay, well then put
Semenyo
one of
played the
them.
majority of his season on the right. That's where he
But
was playing for Man City.
I would put Bowen in there. Semenyo is in there. Bowen is in there, in my opinion.
Mm. And Haaland obviously up front.
Haaland would be the
So
center forward.
Thiago doesn't make your team. Thiago from Brentford.
I'm not using two forward. I'm using one center forward.
So
If
you're
I
saying,
if I was using two up front, yeah, sure. I'm not playing
mm,
4-4-2. I'm playing 4-2-3-1. Right? If it was 4-4-2, Thiago definitely.
I see, I see, I see. But I mean, speaking of team of the season, so who are the defenders that's in your team of the season? Your
If
starting 11.
if not for injuries, the entire backline for team of the season would be Arsenal.
No, man, we're talking about what is,
No, no, I'm
not
just saying
if.
if not for injuries, if not for injuries, it would be
But
Timber,
there is injuries. So
Gabriel,
no, man, I'm
Saliba, and
talking
Gallagher.
about what
It's
is
going
your
to
team of
be
the season now.
I would go with Reece James, uh
Reece James
yeah,
at right back.
James, Saliba, Gabriel, obviously, Raya in goal.
Right.
And I was thinking about left back. I'm not quite sure as yet who
Oh,
who to
I would put O'Reilly of Man City at the left
Nico
back
O'Reilly.
position. Right. I would put O'Reilly at left back. Reece James at right back. I'm not too sure about that call, to be honest, based on his injury record. I mean, when he's not injured, he's played well, but
Yeah, when not
uh,
injured, he's played
I'm
well.
I'm I'm
I'll
not
probably put
sure.
Reece James.
And
Um,
in the who is your midfield three then?
Midfield three. Bruno Fernandes, Declan Rice, and I guess you would put Cherky. I would put
Turkey,
Cherky
who doesn't
or
even start for Man City on a regular.
my preference, however, is Granit Xhaka.
So no Soboslai.
No, I think when you compare the two players season, Szoboszlai, while
Yes,
I thought he was Liverpool's best player
correct.
by
By a mile, of course. And
a mile.
he is in my team of the season. My midfield would be Rice,
I would definitely
Soboslai, and Fernandez.
Rice. I was considering Szoboszlai as well. I was like
Has to be in it.
Turkey,
No, Turkey
Szoboszlai,
doesn't play enough for me.
Xhaka, but for me it is Xhaka, Rice, Fernandez. Szoboszlai could replace Xhaka. But I am going to go with Xhaka because he has captained his team and he's brought them up. They were fantastic for much of the season. Liverpool, I don't know. I recall Someone like played his heart out, and when asked to play other positions, he did really well.
Correct.
He also picked up that
Yeah,
red
man.
card for
For me, Soboslai has to be in the team of the season. Hands down. Has to be. It's him, Fernandez, and Rice for me. Soboslai Fernandez, right? That's my midfield three. Um, Up front would be Haaland and Semenyo for sure. Haaland,
Yep.
Semenyo.
Haaland, Semenyo, and Jared Bowen for me.
Yeah, Bowen is not a bad shot. That one is tough, that last position, because I also like the looks of a Gibbs White, to be honest with you. I
That's
thought
a good
Gibbs
one
White
too.
had a tremendous season for Forest. Um, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, those are two good shots. Those are two good shots. Bowen is a good shot. Gibbs White is a good shot. So yeah, those are the names that would be in contention, in all honesty. Fairly straightforward. Not a lot of positions really up for debate, in my opinion. Quite clear cut. Um, yeah. Haaland, definitely. I mean, the Golden Boot winner has to be in your team of the season. I, to be honest, Christoph, I would try to find a way to squeeze Thiago in there. To be honest with you.
I mean,
I would
if,
probably play a 4-4-2, to be honest, to get
okay,
Thiago in there.
if you play a 4-4-2, who is now the midfielders?
Yeah, it would be the same midfield, the same three
The-
along with
the- uh,
Semenyo.
uh, if it's
Semenyo.
four if it's 4-4-2, how you have three? How you have midfield
No,
three?
it's the same tree which we discussed. So Rice,
Rice.
Rice.
Mm-hmm.
So like a diamond then. Let's say
Okay,
Rice,
not fine.
Fernandez, Soboslai, and Semenyo.
Okay, and then you would have
And up
Haaland
front,
and
I have
Thiago.
Haaland and Thiago. Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah,
would go with those
I,
six
I could live with that.
attackers.
I could live with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my call. Right back though, Christoph. Right back, I am not so sure about Reece James. That's a questionable call for me personally. The Reece James call. I'm not sure because much like the Arsenal right back, Timber,
Mhm.
Reece James has been injured for a while. So if you look at his statistics, he didn't play a full season, in my opinion. When he did play, he played well enough. But from a statistical point of view, I thought he needed more games under his belt in order to be in the conversation for team of the to be among the players in that team of the season. So I am still looking at that position as to who could potentially replace him based on your analysis.
I mean,
Because to me, he needed more games.
you could replace him with Dominic Sloboslai.
No, 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 no. Definitely not. Not. Definitely not. Not at right back. Not at right back at all. Not at right back. Because James played what? He played in 29 games, started 20. So he started 20 games and came on in nine other games. That and average minutes per game was 68 minutes per game. He had 2 goals and 4 assists. 2 goals and four assists. Nunes, Christoph, Nunes of Man City. Nunes.
As a right back. Known as a
Yes.
right back.
Yes. Nunes played the majority of Man City's season as a right back. Nunes. I would put Nunes in that conversation. Nunes. That is the man I would have at right back. Man City right back, Nunes. So it would be two Man City fullbacks, O'Reilly and Nunes, and two centre backs and the goalkeeper from Arsenal. So Arsenal would pretty much have 4 players in that team. But yeah, Nunes, I would definitely put Nunes ahead of James, in all honesty. And when you look at the statistics for Nunes, let me try and bring up those stats for Nunes to do a comparative analysis. Um, let's see, Nunes. Mateus Nunes. So Nunes played in 34 games, Christoph, starting 32 of them. 84 minutes per game. He had 1 goal and he had 5 assists. 1 goal, 5 assists. Played in 34 games and started 32 of them. To me, those are better credentials than James, in all honesty. And when you look at the defensive record of Man City, compare that to that of Chelsea as well. you can see that. I mean, if you want to go into further detail as to that, you can do that. But yeah, I would definitely have Nunes ahead of Reece James. But yeah, so that would be my team of the season. So for me, Raya, the Arsenal combination, Saliba, Gabriel. On the left, I would have O'Reilly. On the right, I would have Nunes. In my midfield, it would be Rice, D-mid, Bruno Fernandes, Soboslai, and Semenyo. And then up front, it would be two for me. Thiago from Brentford and Haaland from Man City. Yep, that would be my team. So the only difference with your team, Christoph, would be you would be playing 4-3-3, and you would have
Yeah,
Bowen instead of Thiago.
right.
Interesting stuff for sure. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, we can come up with all sort of combinations.
I mean, yeah, if I switch to playing two centre forward, I would drop Bowen and put in Thiago. If that's right. If we say it's 4-4-2, let, if we say it's 4-4-2, then Bowen gets dropped and I would put in Thiago.
Right, right,
And
right,
then
right.
you could probably play Semenyo
Definitely.
as attacking midfield.
No, I mean, it can be a flat four, Christoph.
Yeah, it could
As
be a flat
so
four.
much
You
like,
play him as a winger.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But in terms of standout team or surprise team of the season, Christoph, who is your surprise team of the season?
Um, Hard to go
A
against
team
Sun.
that did a team that did better than you expected at the start of the season.
It's hard to go against Sunderland, obviously, but the biggest surprise team is probably Manchester United.
Mm. In terms of finishing third, you're saying,
Right.
compared to how their season started.
Yeah, the season started poorly. Obviously, they had started picking up points with Amarin, and they were on the cusp of top four at the time. I think they were probably fifth or sixth when Amarin got sacked. But then Carrick came in and took charge, and essentially the only team that won more points since Carrick took charge of United was Arsenal. So
Mm,
it was a very impressive display for United, very impressive for Carrick. Obviously, impressive enough for him get um get the permanent job. But obviously, it's going to be more difficult for them next season, not having one match a week.
I see. For me, it has to be Sunderland. Sunderland, a promoted team, and finished in seventh, Christoph, in a Europa League position. So Sunderland, come next season, will be playing Europa League. That has to be a tremendous achievement. Achievement I didn't see coming any at all. I thought Sunderland would be among the relegation candidates, battling it out for relegation, but Sunderland came and conquered.
I think after the first couple of weeks, it was pretty obvious that Sunderland was not going to get relegated after the first three or
Yeah,
four
but to
weeks.
sustain that throughout the season, I mean, we've seen teams get off the hot start, but then fade on the back end of the season.
Yeah,
Sunderland
but
pretty much maintained that. They did
when
have a
you
little dip, but they maintained and finished
when
seventh. Seventh on 54 points.
right.
That is commendable,
I mean, yeah, they dipped. Some of their players did go away to AFCON, but
right?
Sunderland also equipped themselves to play in the Premier League because coming up, they essentially bought almost an entire new squad.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Shrewd recruitment. And as you mentioned earlier, Xhaka probably was the biggest of those signings or the smartest of those signings who had a tremendous impact not only on the field, but also in the locker room and also from a leadership and experience point of view as well. But Sunderland definitely, and a close second behind Sunderland for me is Brentford. Many persons had picked Brentford to be in the relegation fight, Christoph. Brentford lost their manager and lost their best two or three player, Wissa, Mbumo. They all went. Captain Norgard as well. So Brentford lost their three best players and still managed to finish in ninth position. Throughout the entire season, Brentford name was not mentioned in any relegation conversations, and they finished just outside of a European position. They finished on ninth on 53 points. So those were the two standouts. Sunderland definitely number one in terms of surprise team, and then Brentford. Because as I said, coming into the season, Brentford was decimated with the loss of their best players and coach. and they managed to galvanize and pretty much played an excellent season. And again, Christoph, it could point to recruitment as well. The recruitment of Thiago and the
Thiago,
recruitment of players
um,
like a Jordan Henderson.
Jordan Henderson, who has the experience too.
Correct. Correct. So sometimes it just comes down to some key shrewd signings. As I said, just like the case of a Bowen, you sign Bowen to a 2 year, 3 year contract and you get him to do a job.
Right.
You get him to do a job. Yep, yep, yep. What about players though, Christoph? Standout
Standout
players,
players.
players of the season. I mean, we've seen the EFL have given Fernandez the player of the season. But who were some other names in that conversation as best player of the season?
I mean, obviously Declan Rice, David Raya, Gabriel, Semenyo.
But were there any surprise names, I would say? A player that came to the fore that was not necessarily on your radar.
Um, Probably
For me,
Thiago.
it's Thiago.
Thiago. Thiago.
Thiago, it has to
Yeah.
be the Brazilian Thiago. This was an unknown name coming into the season, Christoph. An unknown entity, so to speak. And not only did he maintain the pace with Haaland, but getting his first call up for Brazil and also being selected to represent them in the World Cup, it has been a brilliant season for Thiago, coming from what you would classify as a non-big team, so to speak. A Brentford. Yeah,
Uh,
he had big shoes to fill and he filled
yeah.
it exceptionally.
Thiago definitely would be that standout performer outside of I guess the big teams. But the other player that really was really a standout for me the first half of the season, but kind of fell off was probably Nick Voltamade. But it was probably
Mm,
more down to teams not knowing how to deal with a player of that size, having not had to deal with somebody like that since probably Peter Crouch.
mm.
But
But do
I've
you see
had
a long-term future for him at Newcastle, though? I
probably
mean,
not
he
to
hasn't
be
started
honest.
a game in a while. I mean,
No,
Eddie Howe seemed not to fancy him. He seemed not to be a player who is gonna be consistently playing in that starting 11. So do
no,
you see
I
a
don't. I
long-term
don't.
future?
I wouldn't be surprised if they sell
Cash in.
him back in the summer, right?
Mm,
Um,
mm. Yeah, he's a player which hasn't done badly. He hasn't had a bad season. But as you said, does he fit the style of a Newcastle? I'm not so sure. Can Newcastle
uh,
lean on
well,
him to lead their line? I'm not so sure about
yeah,
that.
but one of the things I've come to find out, he's not really a centre forward. He's actually an
Right?
attacking midfielder, but he was playing centre forward because they didn't have any at the moment. So,
But again,
uh,
can he be a prominent centre forward in the league?
I
That is the
I
question.
I think
Much
you
like
can.
they had bought the Brazilian Julinton. Julinton was bought as a forward, and having not produced as a forward is almost as if he was reconverted into a very good midfielder, which is a linchpin in that Newcastle team right now. He
I
is the one of their better players,
I think if Newcastle, I mean, maybe he won't be a starting striker, right? Maybe
right?
you buy somebody else to be a starting striker, but he could be used to probably devastating effect off the bench. You have a 6'6" striker who you can swing crosses into and get late goals, potentially winning games. So I would keep him at least for one more season to see if
I see.
I could use him in that manner.
Right, right, right.
If not, after that, then you'd probably ship him out. But I don't know. Maybe they want to cash in now while the stock is potentially high. But
Correct. I would.
I could convert. I think you could convert him into a classic center forward, so to speak.
If he's not part of your long-term plan, cash in now. Cash in now. Or if you want to look at it as cash out, cash out now. Don't reinvest any more
Hmm.
funds in this player if he's not part of your long-term plans. I mean, you've seen him for a year. In my opinion, he didn't do too badly, so I don't think his stock has dropped. I think he has maintained his stock. Probably you're not gonna get the same amount of funds you bought for him, but I wouldn't say he's a dud where his stock plummeted. you can still get decent money for him and use that money and reinvest because the young striker, Asula, Christoph, Asula has come into the team and has taken his game. Eddie Howe looks more convinced by a Asula than a Voltimad. Same thing with a Wissa. They spend big money on Wissa as well. But Asula seemed to have been the man who have taken on the number nine role. And I think he will be the future face of the attack for Newcastle. I mean, we've hearing Garden being linked to the likes of Bayern Munich. So chances are Newcastle will be cashing in on the likes of a Garden. But for sure, Newcastle is a team which need to do a lot of shopping over the summer in order to elevate that team to the next level. For sure, for sure. But yeah, we
Lots of
definitely have to see.
lots of teams probably need to do a bit of shopping and housekeeping in order to elevate themselves for next season. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City.
Arsenal,
Yeah, Arsenal has a lot of work to do if they intend to defend their title better than,
lots of
say,
work.
Liverpool. Yeah, I think so. There's probably a
That's
number of players that
oh,
probably
so
need to be
all right. So
offloaded.
who are you looking to sell from Arsenal?
Well, first of all,
All right, so
if
hold on. Before you even answer that.
Mhm.
So you're keeping your starting 11, just to be clear, as is.
Who do you consider starting 11?
The regular starters, man.
We know
All
some
right, so
we know some of them.
Gokires.
We know some of them,
No,
but
man, I'm telling you now, Gokires. On the right, you have Saka. On the left, let's say a Martinelli. Then in your midfield, Zubimendi Rice. What's
Odegaard,
Zubimendi Rice? Who's the other
Odegaard.
one? Odegaard, right? Or Eze, whichever one. And then in the back line, you have your Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, and then Timber, Califiori. That to me is the best 11 then for Arsenal. Minus
Okay.
a player here or there.
Yeah,
So you're keeping that.
fine. Fine. I think those play all of those players, barring maybe Martinelli, are I would not sell.
Right,
Martinelli could stay or go. Mikel Arteta clearly he does not trust maybe Norgard, so cash in on Norgard.
right.
Trossard, I think you're
So how
gonna
many players are you looking to get rid of? Just to be clear.
there's at least probably three or so
Three to
players.
four, three or four
Three to
players.
four players, right?
Okay. So it's not any wholesale fire
No,
sale then.
no, not
Three
wholesale
or
players
four
here.
players
There
to,
are some,
and it's fringe players you're talking about as
yeah,
well.
fringe players. I'm not talking about regular starters,
Right.
obviously.
So maybe a
Um,
Jesus, for example. You
yeah,
try to get a sale, bring in another striker.
Jesus probably would go if while I like Kai Havertz, if somebody's interested in him and is offering good money, I would cash in on Havertz as well and bring
Okay,
in
I
another
see. Wow,
striker.
but he seemed to be one of Arteta favorites.
He's definitely one of Arteta's favorites, but he has probably, the odd moment of madness, in my opinion, that rush of blood. That tackle the Burnley game is a big question mark against him. Why did you do that? I don't understand. That's
Well, we
why I
have to
said
pick.
I would keep him, but if somebody is offering you good money for him, I would cash in.
Indeed, Christoph. But we have to call it a night here, Christoph. It was good hearing from you in terms of the EPL. Viewer subscribers next time until we link up again.